Shalom. All praise is due to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Racha Wadash. Double honors to the elect, Apostle Bishop Elder Zachariah No Stone, and well. Shalom to elect Aki out there doing this work in sincerity and truth, and not for vainglory in season or out of season. Shalom to elect men, women, sons, and daughters of the nation of Israel, which are the elect men, women, sons, and daughters of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans scattered to the four corners of the earth. The most dangerous place for a black baby is in the womb of a black woman. And we're going to go to it right here in the Bible, okay? This is Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter. We start at the first verse. And it shall come to pass, and it shall come to pass, that thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that Yahweh thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And that's what's going to happen in the kingdom of heaven. Okay, we're going to be above all the nations of the earth. And the nation that's going to be above all nations of the earth is the Israelites, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, scattered through the four corners of the earth. So we're gonna do all the commandments that Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai told us to do. Okay, to follow his laws, statutes, and commandments diligently. Okay, all right, sincerely, with all our heart and all our might. Okay. It says, and all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power. You know, so in the kingdom of heaven, these blessings going to overtake us, man. We're going to have an abundance of blessings. You know, whatever you set your mind to do in righteousness, it's going to come in abundance. Okay, it's going to overwhelm you. But we didn't do that as a nation. Okay, as a nation of Israel, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We didn't do that. We broke his commandments. Okay, we broke the commandments of Yahweh, which is the Most High. Okay, we broke his commandments. And the brothers and a few sisters, we know this. But here's the point that I wanted to get to. Let's go to the let's go to the 15th chapter first. It says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken until the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Right? See, now this is where we at now as a nation of people. You so-called Negroes, West Indian Haitians, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians. Okay. This is where we at now. Okay. Because we broke his law, statutes, and commandments. Okay. Thou shalt not commit adultery. That's a big thing going on amongst so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Thou shalt not steal. That's a big thing going on. Okay. Of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, thou shalt not kill, which is really thou shalt not murder. That's going on amongst you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Thou shalt have no other gods before us. That's going on big time with you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. See, so we broke all the laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay. So these are the curses that's going to come upon us. Now, the one I want to get to is in the 18th verse. It says, cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. So, you know, you have red pill, the red pill men talking about how foul the black woman is, how foul a Latino, Native American woman is, Hispanic woman is. They do this, they sleep with other men, you know, they go against you, they don't want to be led by you, you know, you know, they the wall, once they're young, they go out there and they sleep with every man they can find. Then when they get a certain age, then they want to go and they want to come back and be with you because no man is taking them seriously. Okay, well, you know what? We can't just blame the so-called black, Latino, Native American woman for everything, man. Okay? All right? Because the men, we're the leaders of the nation under Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Okay? All right? So you sleep with these women, you put your seed in her, right? And what happens? She gets an abortion. Okay? Cursed shalt thou, it says, cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. That's talking about sons and daughters, man. Babies. All right? Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens a lot. It's a dangerous place, man. Especially when it comes to the black woman. It's a dangerous place to be, to put your baby in her, man. It's a dangerous place for your baby. You shoot the club up, as they say, and she gets an abortion, whether you want it or not. And then you got men that go tell a woman to go get an abortions too. So we can't just leave it all on the so-called black woman now. I know myself, I have family members males in my family who've told their women to go get an abortion. See, but these are all the curses that was going to happen upon us. On the nation of Israel, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay? All right? So that's a dangerous place. That's a dangerous place to put your seed in, man. It says, not like the Latino and Native American women are not doing it, the West Indian and Haitian women are not doing it. I'm not saying that, but it's mainly the black woman. It says, cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. Okay, so cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. That's just one aspect of it, So, listen, in the kingdom, it won't be so. We won't have our women won't get abortions in the kingdom. I'm talking about the black woman, West Indian, Haitian, Latino, Native American woman won't get an abortion in the kingdom because she's going to be righteous. But we're going to be righteous first and foremost. The men of Israel, the men of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But these are the curses that befall us, and there's many more curses when you read this whole chapter, All right? So I hope you've been edified. And with that, shalom.